My name is Sally Sani.
My name is Nick Sani.
My name is Mike Santoyani.
Oh my goodness, what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see, it's summertime. I am enjoying myself trying to plant a garden, water the garden, weed the garden. I swim a lot as much as I can because I love the exercise. I hike. And if you want to think of something that I'm doing to help other people, I organize a group and we take water to the Appalachian Trail, which passes through Tuxedo. And we do this all summer long. And that's what I'm doing this summer.
I'm involved in various real estate related things and manage a property and timber property in South Carolina. And on my free time, I've got 7 kids or some stepkids, and then I hang out with my mom in this beautiful town.
I'm a broker for the TPA Realty is my company, and I've been involved with Tuxedo and school board, and I sell real estate, and I'm involved with our boat club that we started many years ago with Sally's husband's assistance, actually starting the club. And Sally and I actually maintain the old bridle trails that we've brought back for hiking and mountain biking for the enjoyment of people in the park.
Hello, how's it going? Oh,
Hi.
It's embrace.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Erica.
Good morning.
Are you far away? Oh, good to see you again. Yes,
Brisbane.
we know each other now. Right now, yeah. So, guys,
welcome to
you're
Europe.
a wonderful.
We shall say.
Yeah, welcome. Yeah,
Welcome
we brought
to Europe.
Europe to you. Yeah. So you have no jet lag. How I
We
have
don't. How are you?
all very good. Thank you. So, guys, you're a wonderful group, and you are mother and son, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Is he son and mother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with you,
I am definitely the senior here.
yeah, someone has to be.
Yes.
And you're probably the youngest then. Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah, you're so happy. Yeah. So, so guys, tell us a little bit more about yourselves. Where did you grow up? Are you from here locally, or did you grow up for somewhere else? Well, what's your stories? What are your
The
stories?
story is I grew up in Connecticut, and I still consider myself a New Englander, not a New Yorker. Although I've been here in Tuxedo Park, for 48 years.
Okay.
My husband's family
Wow.
has been here for
205 years.
if I stay in the house where I am now, where we lived and brought up our children, if I stay for 9 more years, the Sani family will have been in the house for 100 years.
Wow.
And I know that's nothing when you think about Europe.
No.
Hundreds and hundreds
Well, it's still
of years.
it's a century. It's a lot, yeah.
But here, 100 years is a lot for one family in the house.
Well, I love that. Yeah.
And
This is something. You're definitely a big part of this community.
I have been. I've been involved in most everything. It seems the church and the garden club and.
You must know many secrets,
I've
because 100 years, you know, it's.
Well,
It's a long journey.
I'm not quite 100 years, but
No, Yosef. But I mean, coming from the rest of the family, you must have heard something.
oh
right?
yes, I've heard a lot.
Rumors.
I've heard a lot of stories. My husband, who died 5 years ago, was a historian of Tuxedo. He was very interested in the history, and he talked about it a lot. And I have to confess,
Did you like that?
I listened.
Or were you like, oh, he's talking again?
But
so much?
sometimes I zoned out, and so now people ask.
So that answers the question, yeah.
People ask me the questions, and I say, "Oh, I wish I'd listened a little more carefully," because he knew a lot of the secrets, and I know the secrets and the really interesting things, but I didn't always listen that carefully. But I know a lot of stories, and you know, I love the place. It is unique.
Something that you think, can you tell us something that you think is not on internet, is not anywhere, Something you give us here.
It's exclusively in your
Exclusive.
heart.
Like a story, something, I don't know.
Well, some of them I really couldn't say. They would have been
That's choosy, I mean. Yeah.
embarrassing to the families.
Mhm.
And the,
But no, something
and the
that
people,
can be,
something.
Yeah.
Well,
something that was maybe done
Most
200
things
years ago.
I,
Something
I really
nice,
can't
even,
right now.
I don't know.
Nick, do you know anything
Well,
Dad used to talk about?
There
You chip
were
in, yeah.
certainly some stories that he told that probably shouldn't be repeated.
And this is already very juicy, you know, very, I mean, I want to know so much.
But you know, I mean, I think you talked a little bit about Europe and the story that my father used to say when my grandfather, his father, came to Tuxedo Park. He drove through these gates, and then if you go a little less than a mile, you'll see the Tuxedo Lake. And he drove around the curve, and he said, "Oh my gosh, this feels like Europe. This feels like I'm in the mountains of Switzerland." And immediately he said, this is where I'm gonna be. So so he did. He first came here, my grandfather first came here in 1919, and then he bought that he rented for a little bit, and then he bought the house that I grew up in 1933. So you know, this still it still feels like home for me, and every time I go and see the lake, I'm like,
of course,
this is wonderful. A sigh of, whew, I'm relaxed and.
It's your happy place.
It's definitely my happy place. Yes.
And guys, this is one of the. Is this the only gated community in the U.S.?
Oh no.
Oh no, there's another one. Yeah.
Oh well, there are quite a few.
It should
but
be in
they're
LA,
private.
right?
They're private. The roads are all private. This is a village, and it's a unique situation. It's really grandfathered. I don't think people can just put gates across public roads and and make them private. But
we can try that.
This has been. It actually, before 1952, they were all private roads, and then we became a village in the state of New York, and so we have to follow New York state laws and
which is, I mean, it's fair enough. I mean, it's there's plenty of other places. I mean,
yes, but it's unique in many ways, and we are. Even though we are in some ways a park, we are surrounded by parkland. If I look over there, that's Harriman Park and Sterling Forest, and the 50 square miles of the town of Tuxedo are about 80% parkland. Yeah. So and you can see why it was originally attractive for hunting and fishing and all the things that people from New York wanted to.
Well, one of the things, it is one of the first planned communities. So Pierre Lorillard, who was, I mean, you'll probably get this from the Historical Society.
Yes.
But he planned this community and in very short order got the roads built and the sewer and the water and it became, and the first original 13 houses in the club, which was very much part of was the TPA that was the kind of the town. Yeah. And then the club, which was the social hunting and fishing and the court tennis.
Do you still do that? Is it something that goes on? Huh?
Hunting and fishing, not so much. The fishing is actually quite good, but not the hunting.
Not the hunting.
But the golf and the court tennis or real tennis, as it is in Britain, is still very, very active. So
all rackets.
So that was it was a club for outdoor recreation initially.
It was fox hunting and idle trails that go all through the forest and the mountains. That's what the Sawney family had left some money to maintain those. And so and I and Nick, we coordinate that and do the actual labor of clearing those trails, so they are very accessible. It was all part of on the old maps we have. The whole game preserve was the land that is now public land. And a lot of that land in the development plan, the first planned community, has developed to be part of Tuxedo's future history, which is the PID, the Planned Integrated Development, that the TPA sold to the developers that are going to now build homes with lots of open space and recreational space around it, accessible by the people who live in Tuxedo.
Amazing.
So
Yeah.
it's very similar to its original plan and goal to make
Yes.
this a resort.
Well,
type
I think.
community and place to live.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you start something, whether it's a company, a brand, or something, you want to keep the uniqueness
Yes.
of the identity alive within the centuries. So, and guys, how are you connected? I mean, you two obviously, but how the
Because you were mentioning that you work together.
yeah, you work
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
Reserve and-
Well, I was asked to be a broker many years ago. I met Chris because I bought a house in the park.
Uh-huh.
And
My
our
father.
office is right down here, Chris Sani, and he was the president of the TPA at the time.
Uh-huh.
And I bought this house, and in the deed it said that I could not put manure on the south side of the house. I could not make wine in the basement, and I could carriage stable boys, but not their wives, could live there.
Uh-huh.
So I came down and I showed.
That's
Chris
exactly what you did.
I
You
went
did, you
into
did all of that.
those
yeah.
things, you know, my grandfather
Yeah.
came from Italy.
Especially
and,
when someone
So
tells
you
you-
wanted to make wine.
So I
Especially
never
when-
did, but I met him
Yeah.
at the office and we got talking. He said, "Oh yes, that's in many of the deeds, these conditions, and we'll take them out."
Oh, nice.
And-
yeah.
Was he a hold did?
And we became friends. We talked about hiking and the lakes.
Nice,
and
yeah,
He
yeah.
had a boat, and I actually found a can of brushes for their Elko boat that the family still has.
It was
Original
handy.
Elko boat on the
Yeah.
lake.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
So we became friends, and I
Uh-huh.
sold some real estate for them. And then Chris asked me to be the broker at the TPA,
Uh-huh.
and we became good friends and partners, and sold real estate for many years. And we both had local history as a fascination. So much of what I've learned, and I've learned a lot, I learned from Chris, who was involved in this community in many
Uh-huh.
different ways.
It was handy to have a friend that can scrap that out from the deed.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. And we did many things like that. Like Chris debunked and myself, the rumor that E.H. Harriman was not allowed to join Tuxedo Park. That's totally false story that gets repeated. It's
Uh-huh.
an urban legend, but untrue. And I had sold the Emily Post House, and in the Emily Post House, there was Bruce Price's daughter.
Uh-huh.
I was caring for it. A common friend of Chris's, Kel Dahlstrom.
Uh-huh.
He owned the Emily Post House, and I was caring for it as he was in Sweden for business with Volvo.
Uh-huh.
And in it, I found the original club membership book, which had E.H. Harriman in it. So we debunked that story. Unfortunately, like today, urban legend is sometimes more interesting than the truth.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah, true.
we disproved that, and
I wonder if there is always a percentage of truth in an urban legend.
My feeling is that my husband's father is the one who originally in 1919
Uh-huh.
came here, and he had a lot of stories, and he shared them with his son.
Mm-hmm.
And as he got older, I'm not sure, but I have a feeling the stories changed a little bit. And then my husband had the stories.
One drink after the other. Yeah.
And I think as he got older, they got a little changed. You know how the stories are embellished, and who knows what kind of stories I'm going to tell. But
Did you ever say, "Oh, I remember that differently"? And then they go, "Oh no, that's, I was wrong. I was wrong the other day."
people, there are certain parts of the story you like, or anyhow.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if I try to dig back for some stories. So.
But they even say that history books, right, in the very past, they were written by the winners, right? And so, sometimes they could have said anything. They could have changed a little
Sure.
bit, you know?
Yeah.
So we don't know if what's in the history books is completely
yes, a lot of
accurate.
That is, exactly. You can't believe everything you read.
Yeah, yes,
And you can't believe everything you hear.
Yeah.
And maybe you can believe what you see. So
I mean, what they hear here on this show is totally true.
Yeah.
You're telling us the truth, right?
in fact, Sally had a very
Nothing but the
interesting
truth.
story about World War II.
Yeah, about
The
the
Sani family. That
oh, well, this
talked
is,
about.
this
Yeah.
is actually, and I do think it's true, that
well, it's
the part about Niels Bohr and
Oh,
when...
Did you rehearse
Oh,
this?
well,
no, this is a different.
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, this is
She
true.
was forgetting to tell her.
No, the children's house. Well, there's one that is very interesting. Is when my husband was a little boy, and his father had some people at the house out on our porch talking, and I think Chris was kind of in the corner listening. And these people were Alfred Lee Loomis, who was a physicist who was a lab in Tuxedo Park. There's a book written about it.
There's a book, and it's on Netflix too.
Nice.
It's very, very interesting. And the other one was Niels Bohr, the physicist.
The Bohr model.
And
now, how do you know this? Are you historians?
This is a story that my husband told because he remembered it.
He
was
lived
there.
it. Okay.
And he said that when the gentleman left, and his father said to him, they were just talking about something that is going to change the world. This was the atom bomb. And it did.
Nice.
But this happened on our porch. These two physicists who were discussing this. But the other thing was Children's House, which, yes, we have our link with Britain, which was, we are not the only community. There were, I think, about 10 of them. There's a book written about it. But during World War II, British children came over here unaccompanied, and they were children from ages maybe 18 to 12.
Okay.
Young, and their family, not knowing what was going to happen to them, wanted to make sure their children would be okay. And Tuxedo Park opened its doors and its hearts to these children who arrived by ship. And they lived in one of the big houses that had been abandoned, and actually my father-in-law had bought it. It's now called Children's House. It's up on the hill. It's a great, big, beautiful house. It had originally belonged to Charles Mitchell, who was a speculator of finance and lost his money in 1929.
Well, who doesn't? Who doesn't? Anyone speculates on something.
So he had to leave his house, and his house was...
Yeah.
So the children were here for about 4 years, depending, and they were cared for, and they went to the little...
Why would they do that? Why would they take care of these children?
Well,
It was helping the war.
Is it
helping
during the
Oh,
war?
you know, in a way, I think over here where we weren't
Yeah.
in
So this was in
immediate
the early
danger
40s.
ourselves,
Yeah.
wanting to help, wanting to do something. And
They were
it was
escaping from Britain.
on a small scale because it was 12 children.
Okay.
But they were here, and they were they all thrived. They lived in this house. They had a cook and a house mother, and each of them was assigned to a family, and so they went for holidays. I think all of the they all went to our house. I mean, I wasn't there. You weren't there. For Thanksgiving.
So you gotta be jealous, yeah.
I
was there, you weren't.
No, I wasn't. My husband was a little
She's bragging about this.
He was younger, but he remembers them. And then, I can't remember, was it in the 90s, these children who were grown-ups came back for a reunion
Nice.
and went through the house, and they were very emotional about it. They remembered, I mean, how much we remember, but it was so significant in their lives to be here for 4 years, educated and cared for. And then they went home, and of course, hardly knew their parents.
Did they all come back to Britain after? Or
they went back to their families.
Because they were children.
So it was a momentarily thing.
Yeah, for 3 or 4 years during the war.
When the war was over, they could be safe at home.
Or maybe some of them they stayed because sometimes.
I'm not sure whether they did. We've heard from some of them, and they're of course now.
They're probably not alive because they're big.
There's one.
They were 12, so they were they're in their 90s.
There's one I keep in touch with.
Yeah.
Fiona Buchanan in Scotland.
Oh, nice. Fiona, if you're watching, give it a call.
And I've met
we are
her.
coming for her.
Oh, yeah.
Her daughter, she came over to visit with her daughter. And this was about...
He's about to say something. What was that?
8 or 10 years ago, but she has wonderful memories
Mm-hmm.
of
Uh,
her time here. And
so, guys, how did you? So, going to your passions, right? Well, because you're in real estate. You're in real estate as well.
I am. Yeah.
And what was your?
well, I like to write,
Oh, nice.
and I
Right.
did write and
Did you write
to be the
books?
publisher.
Like novels?
It was
or
it was
drama?
the news.
News.
It was a newspaper,
News.
a
So
local
real
newspaper.
stories, yeah.
And
Can you give us a title for this interview?
the
we will
title
use it.
Was it's gone now because we printed it, and now everything is on the internet. And we just decided we would stop because I didn't have much help, and I wanted to do something else with my life.
No, but what
It
would
was
be?
called Tuxedo Inside Out, which is a kind of a silly.
Oh, it's nice. I see the inside out. Yeah.
And it did the
I
town.
like you reveal everything.
It was for the
The
town.
news. Yeah.
I did the village,
Uh-huh.
and people liked it. They said they liked it,
It's
and
catchy. Yeah.
waited for it to come out every month. And
Uh-huh.
we had to be totally accurate. And I learned about journalism
Uh-huh.
and about being truthful and thorough. But
Did you ever?
sometimes people don't like what you write, but if it's the truth, then
Did you write always with a cold, objective point of view? Like, did you say, oh, this happened and this will lead to this? Or did you put your own?
well,
I didn't like that.
I do feel that facts speak for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I wouldn't leave out facts that were maybe a little offensive to some people, but
Mm-hmm.
I try to maybe direct it to a certain point of view, but always with the facts.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, yeah.
And
Yes.
so
If it's true, I mean, it's true. Yes, and I'm close to this. Actually, that's very. Guys, what do you think? Did you like the articles that your mother wrote?
Well, I remember growing. This was mostly when I was much younger. It's been quite a few years, but yeah, no, she would be working hard, writing and always
Going to
got the
meetings.
scoop. Went to all the village
You got the
meetings,
news first
and
at the time, right?
and there were
Yeah.
there was lots of politics, as any small town. Elections were always hotly contested, and it would be a big discussion at my house. I grew up with 3 other siblings, so it was a lively household. But this was certainly something we always talked about, what's going on in the town and the village.
Did you ever change an article because a member of your family read it and they were suggesting a change
no,
to replace some of the words, or maybe?
well, I would edit and edit and edit, and just to make it smoother. One thing, maybe you don't know, a lot of people here don't know, but we would put
I know pretty much everything. That's very little.
we would put at the
my
end.
genius level
Do
company.
you know about Garrison Keillor and Prairie Home Companion? That's a strictly American thing. And he was on the radio, and he would tell stories. This was once a week, and they were from a community in the Midwest, Lake Wobegon, and they were quite amusing. Anyhow, so I liked that, and I liked to listen to them, and I thought they were very clever and funny. So at the end, and they say when he was leaving the radio, the program, he'd say, and that's the news from Lake Wobegon, where all the women are strong, all the men are good looking, and all the children are above average. So I thought, well, now we'll do one for Tuxedo. So we thought, and I got other people to put in suggestions, and we finally came up with, at the end, when we had space, you're just trying to fill your space.
Yes.
And we said, and that's the news from Tuxedo, where all the women are bold, all the men are sporty, and all the children have terrific potential.
Wow.
I love this. It's
And
beautiful.
we tried to be, not just make up something, to be sort of accurate. I do think in
This is
general,
True. Are
I
women
think-
Were women
I
bold?
think the women are
men
bold,
sporty
and I think the men are sporty. Some of the women are too.
Not bold in the sense that they
And-
didn't have any hair, right?
Not bald, bold.
No, just kidding.
They're bold.
I always have to explain my jokes. Yeah. Women are bold.
Women are bold.
Men, they have a lot of
Men are
hair.
sporty, and the children have terrific potential. That's
Amazing,
what
yeah,
everyone
yeah, yeah.
says. He
Yeah.
has potential. Just wait.
Amazing. Yeah.
That's
I
fantastic.
love that.
And then, no,
And I want you to know, to can still, because we talk about the writing so what about your passions? Because, yeah.
Mine
No.
is water and boating. I like real
Water and
estate.
boat.
I've done it for 35 years. I know it well. Chris taught me a lot about it. I know the land, but I've always been involved since I was a boy with
Uh-huh.
canoeing, kayaking, boating. I sailed competitively.
So would you go back?
Started a boat club
Is
with
it-
some other folks, and we manage that now in Tuxedo Lake.
Uh-huh.
And I'm very involved with state parklands
Uh-huh.
here and wanting people to get out and enjoy the environment here. That's why I live here.
So should you wake up tomorrow
Yes,
and you're
exactly.
21 years old
Yeah.
and everything that happened so far has been a dream,
Yeah.
would you just focus on that?
If I could afford to do it, yeah,
I mean, yeah.
I'd get a sailboat and sail
Yeah, is that what you
anywhere
would?
and everywhere. Yeah.
What about you? Would
You
you
wake up tomorrow.
Right now?
wake up
Everything
tomorrow?
has been a dream, even this
Yeah.
interview. What would you do?
Sometimes.
Even this interview.
Even this interview. Yeah.
So where would I go now?
No, what would you focus
What
on?
would you do? Would you do something
Well,
different?
at this
or-
point, no, I wouldn't, because you have to realize that I'm quite old. And I have been thinking
But
about,
you don't look that much, but thank you for it.
I'm 84.
Wow.
Wow.
So I've done a lot.
Uh-huh.
I've traveled a lot. There's a lot I've missed, but I can read about it and think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still doing all the things I can do,
Uh-huh.
which a lot of the sports, I've given up tennis and I've given up skiing because I don't want to break my bones.
That's fair enough.
But
That
I
helps.
can hike and swim and garden and see friends and do things
Mhm.
and take care of things.
That's very generic. Yeah.
and
And
so-
do things. What is that? Drug dealing? What are we
It
talking
is
about?
generic. Well, I can go into New York City and go to the opera,
Nice. Yeah. That's good.
but I don't.
Would you go with your son? Would you go
I am a newlywed.
a newlywed?
A newlywed.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's beautiful.
I was married about 9 months ago
Okay. What happened though?
to a man who's even older than I am, who
Okay.
was in my husband's class at in university.
You said this time for a change?
Mm.
Is that
Well,
no?
it's
A
not so it's
companion.
nice to do
Okay.
things with somebody, and the two of us do things together,
No, that's fair enough.
and
Yeah.
we have a good time. And
So that's a
so
recent
we-
thing,
we
is
can-
it?
Well, 1
9
year.
months, you said.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very recent.
I love
Having an
this.
anniversary in August of this
Uh-huh.
year, our first anniversary,
Uh-huh.
and so that I see his family
Uh-huh.
and he sees mine this Friday.
12 grandkids.
Yes.
12 grand.
She's got
I
12.
What do you think about this? What do you think? Let's chip in with that.
Well, no, I think it's great.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I've been the one. My siblings are in different
You
parts
saw
of the
them out.
world.
You
or
saw them
the
out.
States. So I'm close, and so that meant I love my mom, but it meant
Yeah.
a lot of time with my mom, and now I still spend a lot of time with my mom, but I don't feel
Not as
like
much
I
as
have
before.
to, or it's an obligation.
I
So
think
it's,
they're less worried about.
Oh,
yeah,
because-
oh dear.
because
she's
she
not
has
by
someone.
herself.
She's not by herself, and
That's
she's in a
Correct.
big
Yeah,
house.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's wonderful. He's a wonderful
And
guy.
same for him. His children were worried about him.
I think it's
So
a
it's-
wise choice.
so it's
Plus,
wonderful,
plus, why
no.
not? I mean,
So it is, and we agree on most things. In fact, it's amazing on almost everything, except,
Yeah, that's-
except the baseball team that we're.
that's a downer.
He
That's a-
he is a Dodger fan, and you don't know all
Ah.
about baseball, but
I don't see this
They are-
relationship
they are-
moving any forward. So I'm
They're
sorry.
located on the west
Actually, I'm quite an expert in the
You are?
dating.
on baseball.
No, in the dating market.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, and
Very
then,
different opinions on
Uh,
basketball teams.
no, well, see, I'm a Yankee fan,
Oh,
and
okay.
everybody knows.
How do you cope with that? Do you fight?
How do you?
No, we do. Actually, because
That was a point, and I was not.
he's beginning to like the Yankees, I think. But this,
He's beginning to like.
I love that.
the,
How we should be. I mean, we
Yeah.
have to.
this Friday, we are going to Brooklyn, where his son lives, and his son and his two young boys are Yankee fans.
Uh-huh.
So the Yankees are playing the Dodgers
Okay.
in New York. We aren't going to the game, but they have a great big TV.
Uh-huh.
We have
This big.
oh,
They
this is
have a big
that
TV.
thing. It's enormous. It takes,
I mean, if you have it here.
it takes the whole wall.
Oh wow.
And we have, mine's much smaller. So we are going to watch the Yankee Dodger game on
Uh-huh.
Friday with them. Now,
Nice.
he's the only fan of Dodgers, but we're going to make rules.
So this
that
team has only one fan.
one
Just the only.
But we're going to, our rules are that you can't gloat if the team is winning.
Uh-huh.
You have to be a good sport if
Mm.
they lose and a good sport if they win. So
I love that. And applause to that. To be. What about you? Do you have family?
I've got
Friends?
I've got actually a new wife.
I knew.
A year
something we
a
do.
year.
Is it something that you buy? Some.
Oh, in a week it'll be 1 year,
Nice.
and I've got 4.
So you
children.
changed it together with your mother?
Yeah.
Is that something that you plan together? Let's have you and your partner.
she waited until after we got married to let us know about
Oh,
So,
very
yeah.
nice.
It's very.
I
So,
wouldn't want
it. But I've been with her for a long time. Actually, I knew her in high school.
Okay.
So
It was meant to.
An old flame.
And she was a year below me at the boarding school that I
child.
went to. And so I've known her a long time, but I didn't see her for 30 years.
Uh-huh.
And then we reconnected about 7 or 8 years ago.
What did you say? What did you say to sparkle the conversation and getting her into?
Did you meet again by accident or?
You trained
Yeah,
with
no,
her?
it was at a reunion at
Okay.
our high school that she
Uh-huh.
went to. She had an older sister who was in my grade. And so it was a kind of a reunion in New York City. And so, but she's got 3 kids, 3 boys,
Okay.
and I've got 3 girls and a boy. So I don't know if you know the Brady Bunch. Do you ever watch that? This is before
No.
your time. It's
No.
a show. It's a show about.
You're very young. How old are you?
You're very
I'm 53.
Wow, guys, what do you eat here? You guys, you look.
Well, thank you.
I mean, do
Thank
you dye your
Well,
hair?
now you've made my day.
But do you dye your hair?
I don't dye my hair.
I mean, look at me. I'm 41, and any one of you that thought I was older, I kill you.
You should
Uh,
share this secret.
All right, now
What
you.
do you eat?
I hope that's on the video. Are you gonna say that? Or-
Yeah. It's gonna stay. It's gonna
not
stay.
gonna be-
No, but
What happens here stays here.
so the
177 countries.
the Brady Bunch was a show in the 70s and 80s, very famous, a sitcom,
Yeah.
and it was a family with a husband with 3 boys
Yeah.
and the mother with 3 girls, and they got together and they called it the Brady Bunch. So there were 6 of them. So we've got 3 boys and 4 girls. So
My
we
gosh.
say the Brady Bunch plus 1 is what
How
we
many
are.
cars do you go with when you go all together?
Oh, it's I have to have a big car, and most of her boys are all out of college now.
Oh, okay.
And mine, I have 2 in college and 2 in high school.
Wow.
What's the relationship with your girls?
Oh, they all get along, and
Okay, nice.
it's
It's good to have an extended family, I think.
so.
Do you support them in everything they do, or what kind of relationship do you have?
I mean, I have a really good relationship with the boys. I think they like me, her boys, and I know I think I'm pretty
haven't
close with my
explored
girl, my girls and my son.
And your-
So I think I'm a good dad. I
Uh-huh.
try to be. I mean, I'm proud of all my kids,
For
and
many years, Nick has gone to camp with them in Maine.
Nice.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
I know he
This
talks
is
about
very,
Yeah.
very,
very
nice.
special time with his kids. And
Yeah.
Nice.
So-
he's quite an outdoorsman as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
so those are the things I like to do. I definitely like the outdoor, and that's one of the reasons why Tuxedo. I'm still here
Mm.
a couple times a week, and
There's a lot of
there's
reality
so much.
here, right?
There's a lot of outdoor stuff, and I love court tennis, real tennis. So I
Okay.
play
Oh, real thing is
real tennis.
Oh, real tennis. Oh,
Which
okay.
is-
Is the
I thought you
original
were talking
game.
about the
Yeah, there is
The real
like-
real game of
Oh, it was.
it's
they
called
play
real
in
tennis in the
Yes,
UK.
yes,
Yes, yeah.
You know, inside in the courtyards.
Yes, yeah.
They
So
were courtyards.
yeah, no, at my old age, I like to stay busy with lots of things.
Yes.
How did you get into the real estate business? Do you have a passion?
Well, I think
previous
through my
passion?
father and we have a property in South Carolina that grows trees.
Oh,
And so that's I manage that property. And I've always, I think probably through my dad and his relationship, although he worked at an investment bank for a long time before really getting involved in Tuxedo.
Have you ever thought about getting into another path during your journey?
Well, you asked if I was 21, what I do. I'd love to buy a big farm and grow vegetables and have animals, and
So,
that would be my.
a simpler and more independent life. Is that what you do?
Yeah. Well, and you're
Maybe all in one with nature.
Yes.
More
Yeah.
deeply immersed within.
Yeah. I mean, I try and get pieces of that places I go. So and I do.
I love that. Yeah, and applause to that. I mean, so I have clear ideas. What about you? What would you do? You go back on a.
He said boating.
Talked about
and,
the boat, yeah.
I would add that, I have a new grandson. I'm about to be, on Sunday, I'll be 74. And I want to teach him all about nature here in Tuxedo, and fishing and swimming and boating. And I get the opportunity.
Because there's a lot of fishing as well, because there's a lot of lakes, right?
The fishing is terrific.
lakes and streams.
But, that's why I love it here. And I've always lived here, and I've brought my children up here. They're in their 30s now, and they love the outdoors and active outdoors people. And so I want to do that with my grandson, is to teach him to have great.
I can see you were looking at the camera. They're looking.
And to love life and the important things in life, and to be healthy and respect the environment.
I love that. And applause to this as well. Yeah, very nice.
And actually, related to this, because you were mentioning before that you work together to maintain the trails in a most perfect state for visitors, right?
Yes.
So how do you do that all together? Do you have like reunions, like monthly reunions, and do you track? How do you do it technically?
Well, we usually get an email from Sally saying this trail needs clearing, and that's in the park. But I've also been involved in the greater area here as a scout and a fire marshal when I was young.
Yeah.
So our trails are maintained by different organizations. As I said, Sally brings water to the people who hike the Appalachian Trail, and there's an Appalachian Trail Association. So it's a much bigger network. And then the state park is here, and they have people, and we're in contact with the state park management now to get. We're trying to get at one of the lakes in state park in Tuxedo, just for Tuxedo residents, because with all of this land and water, as the town grows, there's no place for boating and swimming for the whole township.
Right.
I'm very involved with Dave and the town board with trying to accomplish that.
Yes.
And over the years of educating the kids in our school district, which is a beautiful school, and we have a private and public school in our town. It's a small town with many resources.
Yes, absolutely.
And trying to put that best foot forward.
And many challenges.
Oh yes, of course,
Any
What would be the main challenge?
Well, it depends on what you're talking about.
Within
for instance, in Tuxedo Park, the infrastructure is over 100 years old.
Which is a bonus. It means it's very old. Yeah.
I would say money is a challenge both in the town and in the village, just trying to keep things maintained.
Yeah.
Taxes are very high.
But I mean, nothing compared to Europe. Every time that in the US I hear, taxes are very high. How much is that? 10%. What? I mean, in Europe it would be 50%. So it's very high.
No, it's true.
I mean,
Well, I
maybe
know
here it's
that,
15 or
yes.
something like that.
Yeah, well, it's the property taxes. It's
We pay the income
So
tax,
that's what
but
we're-
that's to the state, but we pay high property taxes. There aren't very many people paying the taxes, so the pie, you know, if population hasn't grown much in Tuxedo.
What would you love to see?
What would be the number one?
The number one thing they would like to see happening for the town of Tuxedo and the village, as of course the village is inside the town of Tuxedo, is independent, but still, what would be your...
Well, right now we have something on the horizon because there was a large tract of land which actually had been owned by the Tuxedo Park Association, which my husband was involved in. And they were paying taxes for years with no income. And that becomes unsustainable.
Indeed, yes.
So it had been sold to a developer. This was 30 years ago. And they've been trying all that time to get something going. But putting the development in one area and keeping a larger tract, just woods and open space. And now they've actually got things going more or less, don't you think? They've got a new developer. This is 30 years.
And now is the gem of New York.
It will be. I think that'll really be an impetus for
and that will
some
bring
change
us
here and some positive, more people, maybe more amenities.
Support for the school.
Cool. And so I think this was the vision of my father, I think, years ago, to really keep it in one central area and then have the rest open space forever and have more of a viable, you know, the town of Tuxedo has been, in fact, you go back 100 years, the population was about the same, in fact, even more 100 years ago. That's not, most places, that's not the case.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there needs to be an influx of people, I think, in the town, which will, you know, we've got all the things. We've got
I mean, it's beautiful. Let's go all the nature.
I'd love to take you through Tuxedo Park. We could drive through now.
Yeah, no, so yeah, it really.
Great.
But it is special. But the good thing about I think what is coming here is that it's not suburban. It's not just a lot of streets with a lot of houses. It's first of all, the terrain is hilly, and so there will be some variety. And then, of course, they're surrounded by woods and one little pond up near there, and it should be a positive addition. And hopefully, good, nice people will come there and send the children to the school, and they'll pay their taxes, and they will volunteer to be.
Well, let's not tell them that. Yeah, just come here. They discover about the taxes later on.
But the taxes actually being broker for this many years, and Chris tracked it very closely.
Yeah,
it's half of what it is in all the surrounding towns. Even though
the school tax we're talking about.
Well, and our cumulative tax, because I sell houses in both counties and other towns, and I have. And when you compare what Tuxedo is, we just need more services, and the people will bring services.
Yes.
I mean, we're a town that is only 48 miles from Columbus Circle in New York City.
Oh, yes.
It's like being in the Adirondacks.
80%,
as Sally said, of the land is forever wild. We have bears, eagles, every kind of creature, and it's all very...
Bears, exactly what I love,
Yes. And well, you know...
A bear could come now and kill us all, right?
No, they just want...
They're just...
really that aggressive unless you bother them.
They're fine.
But
I wouldn't dare.
The place Tuxedo actually evolved from the Iroquois Indian Muncie Indian name of Tuxedo. It's on the original maps in the 1600s. And before that, they called this Tuxedo, and Tuxedo evolved into Tuxedo.
Or maybe they just had a code, Tuxedo.
Tuxedo, place of the bears.
Wow.
I guess they bend in the river, but most people say
I thought the
Places.
tuxedo was because of the suit.
No, you haven't heard the story
No, but
about
the
the
suit-
tuxedo? The tuxedo is named after this town.
the
Okay.
suit. The suit was
Formal
brought
wear.
from
Yeah,
Europe.
yeah,
The suit was brought from Laura Lord's son,
Uh-huh.
Griswold Laura Lord, and worn at the autumn ball.
Uh-huh.
And it had no tails. See, the
Yes.
tails was really something for riding horses. It
Yes.
protected your legs. the tails.
Right.
On
The
a
penguin.
riding but the dinner jacket
Yeah.
had no tails.
Yes.
They wore this at you wore this at
Oh.
it was
Casual.
a big ball or something in Europe, and he brought this back and he wore it to
Yes,
the
yeah,
autumn
I think it was actually in England, right?
ball.
It-
I'm
it-
not
Yeah.
sure if it was England.
It
No, it was in
definitely
Yes.
No, it was in England,
One
and
of the
he brought it back. And
craftsmen.
So you can do the research on that.
Or maybe it was in Scandinavia and then the English they marketed.
No.
Yeah, yes.
Oh,
it's
no.
British.
No, it was in the
At
thing.
any rate, it was brought here, and
Uh-huh.
when he wore it here, it was coined the tuxedo because he
Yes.
wore it at the Tuxedo Autumn Ball.
Amazing.
And that was the
Called the
first
tuxedo
time.
from there, named after the town.
Amazing. And posto
It
dirlo.
was the first time America.
So
We also discovered.
so we came before the dinner jacket,
Yeah, okay.
not the other way around.
Oh, okay. Yes, yeah. That's fine. Okay, my dear. Guys, thank you so much. You've been fantastic.
Oh, well, thank you.
It
Mwah.
was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much. Mwah.
Very good luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, no, stay seated. Stay seated. We need to sign off the
I would
episode.
love to just drive you through Tuxedo.
One second.
So, 1 second. And so let's see who's
Next.